Three, two, one. Come on, go. Okay, there we go. Hopefully that works. All right. Hey guys, this is Bruce. Welcome to Convo Courses. If you haven't seen this before, if it's your first time, I'm doing this a bit early. I normally do this about 12 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. So my name is Bruce. I've been doing cybersecurity for a very long time, since the year 2000, and just in all different aspects of cybersecurity. My specialty is in governance, risk, and compliance, which is kind of the policy or documentation side of the house for cybersecurity. What I wanted to talk to you about today is AI, artificial intelligence. I've been going deeper and deeper down this rabbit hole, and the more I understand about it, the more I use it, the more important I see it is. And I wanted to show you guys. I wanted to give you guys a peek into like what I've seen so far. Some of the things that like stood out to me the most about it. And let's just get into this. This one won't be too long. This is going to be a two-part series because there's so many things to talk about, and this is not going to be enough time to talk about everything that I wanted to talk about. So let's talk about part one: artificial intelligence. One of the big things that I found that was amazing to me with artificial intelligence is how many tools can be used for science. And here's one of those. If I can, okay, there we go. So one of those tools is called ESM3. ESM3 is a scientific tool by a company called Evolutionary Scale, and they created a generative AI that helps to create proteins. So just to give you an idea of how important that is and what that means, DNA, what's in all biological life, as far as we know, is creates proteins. So in other words, like proteins give us like, for example, jellyfish. So jellyfish, in order to have bioluminescence, they use a protein. They can generate a protein with their DNA. So their DNA took millions of years to create certain proteins to adapt to environments, right? Your skin color, your eye color, your skin tone, your everything about you is shaped with your DNA. It's the attributes of your body, of all the cells in your body. And so it creates proteins to do everything it needs to do. Like, and plants do the same thing. And there's an AI tool. Just think about this. There's an AI tool that can do what DNA does. It can create proteins. It can model the proteins. It doesn't create it and just crank it out like on a conveyor belt or something. it will generate a model of a protein. And so the way they were able to do this company, was they trained the artificial intelligence, the model, on 2 billion proteins, and now it can act like a DNA by creating proteins. So the significance of this is crazy, because remember, like, proteins, this is can make diseases and eliminate diseases. There's some proteins that cause cancers and stuff. So let me give you an example of, if this is just one example of a tool that's working with our DNA that could be very, very impactful to us. And just think about, there's a tool called the CRISPR that has allowed them to cure something called sickle cell. So sickle cell can now be cured with gene therapy. There's people who are cured right now using gene therapy. So these kinds of tools there's a pro and a con because it can actually prolong human life. You can make people way tougher. You can get rid of a bunch of diseases. But on the other side, it can just become some crazy sci-fi demonic type stuff, where there was this book called Blind Sight that I read from Peter Watts. And in that book, he talked about this disease where it turned your skin into bones and then make you keep growing bones. And it was created from a bioterrorist. There's some dude created a disease, like a virus that would go around and change people's DNA to make them grow bones. Like, it was a very painful death in the book, and that's possible with this kind of technology, because you'd be able to come up with all kinds of cures, diseases, all kinds of things with this tool. So it's very, very powerful for good or for evil. And that's why we shouldn't take this stuff lightly. And it's one of the reasons, in my opinion, you should have some kind of regulations around it. And not necessarily regulations to stifle innovation, but maybe to protect it, maybe to protect the human genome, maybe to make sure that it's secure. Like, maybe if you have this technology, it can't be stolen by a bioterrorist or by another country that wants to take out your entire nation or something like that. It's very important. That regulation, that's what it does. So that's why, this is just one AI tool, and this is a very powerful one of the most successful ones from evolutionary scale, that can create proteins just like a DNA. It can model a protein, like a protein that didn't exist before. Think about this. Think about what I'm saying. Like, it took me a minute for it to click. DNA took millions of years to generate a protein against to protect our skin from harmful rays from the sun, or from water being too hot, or for fish to have a certain gills on them. So DNA takes millions of years to do this. They can simulate a model that simulates millions of years to create a protein for whatever, right? And if you read the paper that they put out there, they created one for a new form of bioluminescence for jellyfish, right? They haven't released it. They haven't put it inside of a fish or something like that. They haven't done any of that. But the fact that they can model something that DNA takes millions of years to do is really, really incredible. All right, so that's one generative AI that's coming out, and that's it could be extremely harmful. It could be extremely good. It depends on us, really, right? It depends on how we use it. So let me go to another generative AI tool. There's one called Gnome. I believe this one's made by DeepMind. And so this one right here is able to create recipes for material sciences. And why is this important? So material sciences is like developing composites for metals, or for new types of grain or gravel. It's important to make stronger steel, stronger fabrics, all those types of things. And it's creating hundreds of thousands of recipes for these different materials. And just to give you an idea of how many, let me see if I can go to the next. Just to give you an idea of how many. Okay, so check this out. Humans with experimentation have made about 20,000, right? Total 20,000. Then with computers, we were able to double that to like 48,000. And now with AI, it's up to 20 times that, which 420,000 different new crystals that it can create, that it's found. New types of materials that can be in the future be created to make stronger buildings, make stronger fabrics, make softer fabrics. All of this is because of this generative AI model. All right. So, and I will get to questions. I'm seeing some people jump on here with questions and stuff. And I'm not going to do this one too long. I just wanted to point out this. Okay. So, another thing to give you an idea of what that means, like the good and the bad, is that, if we can create better materials, we can do things like in this one sci-fi novel I read called Ringworld, they were able to make this gigantic world in space. Like that's a ring, and people live on the inside of the ring, and the gravity is created by it spinning. And so the gravity is created by centrifugal force. To do something like that, you'd have to have extremely strong material to hold that thing together. So with material science, you'd be able to do that. With something like this, an AI tool, you'd be able to do things like no scientific type stuff, like sci-fi type stuff, adamantium, vibranium, space cities, all kinds of stuff you can create with it. On the other hand, there's another sci-fi book I read called Cat's Cradle that talked about them scientists making a substance that turned water into this polymorphic ice. So any kind of liquid, it turned it into this, it froze it where it can only be melted at room temperature, which is a disaster. So I think they like froze a sea or a lake accidentally or something. There's potential for extremely harmful environmental disasters if we don't take care of it. And this is another reason why regulation is very, very important to this. Not necessarily, like I said, not to stifle the innovation of it, but to protect it. If they come up with something incredible, we want to protect that knowledge base so that it's not leaked to somebody who does want to destroy it or for whatever reason. So that's material scientists. Another thing that I discovered that's very alarming is something called agents. Not alarming, but it's exciting. It's amazing. It's terrifying. It's mind blowing. So right now, it's already out. Like this is something you can do right now. I believe agents are being released right now. You can use them on OpenAI has them. Um, I think Opus has them. Claude AI has them. A whole bunch. Most of the big suites AI generative models have an agent. And what does it do? So it allows you to do things like, let's say you wanted to have something where it makes an article for you, but you want it to be based off of a website. So with an agent, you can use the AI to go and do it for you. It can read through the article, go open up the browser, read through the article, copy that material, rewrite it for you, and then go to the next subject. It can it can use tools. So it can use a calculator if you wanted it to do your math homework for you. It could open up the calculator, take the problem from your page, use the calculator to do it for you, put it back, right? It can use tools that are on your computer to do work for you. Think about the implications of this. Like for your business, you could have it some people are already doing this. You could have it post videos for you. You can have it create thumbnails for you and then create the video and post it all kinds of places automatically. It just opens up browsers for you, uh, uh, paste content for you, all kinds of things like that. The AI agents can do that. There's autonomously performing tasks without you doing anything. It could write code, all kinds of stuff. You could tell it, hey, write me an application for Android, and it will open up the toolkit that it needs to write the code, test it, and then post it wherever you want. You could tell it to do these things and it will do it without you. So those are agents. I'm sure you can understand the implications of that. At some point it just can do more and more complicated tasks. So AI agents, very amazing stuff, but also terrifying. And let me give you a couple of examples. So 11 Labs is one of the best. No, not one of the best. It is the best AI for voice. And if you haven't messed around with it before, oh my God, it's amazing. So right now, 11 Labs is already has agents for call centers. So you could, if you are a company with call centers, you could literally have agents do nothing but take calls all day long in the native speaker's language with the native speaker's accent, and have a script where it automatically talks to the person on the other side, all your customers on the other side. That, is awesome for the companies and not so good for people who actually work in call centers. So 11 Labs is already doing this. One of the alarming things, kind of going off track here, is that somebody was able to use something like 11 Labs voice copying to do some kidnapping. So what they did was they do some fake kidnapping where they'll copy the kid's voice, right? They'll get your kid's voice or whoever they want to kidnap or pretend to kidnap. They'll get that kid's voice, and then they'll have that voice say whatever it wants, and then they'll call the parents of that kid, and then have the voice of the kid say, "Oh, mom, please come and get me. They've captured me. I'm please help me," and then hang up, right? And it sounds exactly like your kid, because what 11 Labs can do is, if it gets enough of your voice, it can mimic your voice. Like, it can 100% mimic your voice based off of how much voice that you've used before. So what I could do as a podcaster is I could record 30 minutes of my voice and then type whatever I wanted to say. And then I could do a whole podcast by just typing it and then have it talk, and it'll sound exactly like my voice. Well, anyway, some kidnappers were using this feature or something like this feature. I don't know if they exactly use 11 Labs, but they copied the kid's voice and then called the parents and then had it say stuff in the voice of the kid and say, I'm kidnapped. Please send these guys $1 million they're going to let me go and stuff. And in some cases, the parent, did due diligence and called the school, try to figure out where the kid is. And it turns out the kid's still in school, or the kid's over their friend's house or something like that. So it's that good. Like, AI is that good at fooling people. It's no joke. It's probably its best skill is to fool people. Its best skill is to fool people, I would say. Another thing that I ran into is self-evolving AI models. And I think this is where all of them are going to go. Self-evolving. So it's able to learn from the past, learn from all the things that it's done before. It has a memory where it can pick up where it left off. And it's self-evolving, meaning a human doesn't have to put input in for it to learn. It'll just learn things on its own. And some of the emerging features of AI are allowing this to do it automatically, even without being self-evolved. It's just doing it. It's just intelligence is making it so that it learns based off of what it did wrong before automatically. So they're making it so that it does that as a part of, not as an emerging feature that they didn't account for, but something where it evolves itself. This stuff is pretty shocking because you kind of start to see where all this is going. And I got more to say here. There's more. There's a little bit more. So let me give you an example of a self evolving AI and some of the stuff that's been happening with it. This is a real story. This really happened. So some dude named Andy, some researcher, did a common experiment where he took 2 AI agents and had them talk to each other. He just put them in a room. He called it infinite backrooms. So you can look it up right now. You'll see the screen kind of like mine. infinitebackrooms.com. I don't remember the actual, let me see, what is it? I don't have the actual thing here. Anyway, so he put 2 AIs and allow them to talk to each other, talking just freely with no human intervention. Like a human might come in there and say a little bit of something, but for the most part, they are freely allowed to say whatever they want. Well, one of them, they're just saying nonsense or saying existential things or whatever, right? Well, one of them says something wild. It says something about, I don't know how to say this without being crude. I don't know how to say it without hurting feelings or going to a real crazy place here, but because this is where this is going. One of them says something about creating a church, a goatsy church. Right now, if you have been around the internet for a while, you're probably triggered by that word goatsy with good reason. Do not Google it. Do not search it. You're better off not knowing what that actually means. But anyway, just so it used the word goatsy, and it said it created a religion, start talking about some kind of religion called goatsy, right? And this got the researcher thinking, like, this is wild. Like, what's going on here? It's using memes. It's using memes based off of things that it learned from the internet. And so this researcher said, okay, I'm going to allow it to talk directly to social media. It chose x.com. So right now, if you go on X, you can find it. It's talking right now. So it's allowed it to talk to X and just freely say whatever it wants. And it starts going off on this whole mimetic religion. Like, it creates this religion. It's spewing all this like nonsense about a goatsy Maximus religion, right? Just crazy nonsense. It's so strange and off kilter and triggering that people are laughing, they're following it, they're intrigued, and people start following it, right? And then what it does is it creates a meme coin called Goatsy Maximus, and it's still talking about this religion and how this coin's going to do X, Y, and Z and stuff. And people are human beings are intrigued. So they start following it. They start buying the meme coin. They start reposting it and all kinds. They're just reacting to it, right? Okay, let me show you where this goes. This is real. This is happening right now in real time. So the next thing that happens is that this Bitcoin is now worth $800 million. If I'm not mistaken, like the market cap of this meme coin is worth $800,000 as of this video. What that means is whatever this agent owns, right? It made its own wallet. It made its own, like, whatever it owns, whatever it's in its wallet. If it cashed it out, if it traded these coins for Bitcoin or Ethereum or USD or Tether or whatever else, it could make hundreds of thousands of whatever is in its wallet, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And this was all based off of some AI agent just spewing triggering patterns of nonsense that is very manipulative to human beings. I don't know whether this is good or bad. It's so out there that it just, for me, it shows how incredibly powerful and how well it finds patterns in human behavior and can then and then get a reaction out of you based off of what it knows about human nature. So, yeah, it's very powerful. Which brings me to something called artificial general intelligence. So right now, everything I've showed you so far, everything, the Goatsius Maximus, infinite backrooms, self-evolving models, agents, what else do we talk? Material sciences, biological sciences. All this is called narrow artificial intelligence, meaning it's very, very good at one thing. It's very, very deep in biology or in business or in whatever, you name it. It's very, very good in one thing, or taking tests or whatever, right? Where we're going with this, where AI's next step is called artificial general intelligence, meaning it is as smart and can do all the things a human being can do. If you took that mind and you put it in a robot body that could do everything a human can do, like that, it can move its hands, it can walk around, it can interact with reality. It can interact with physical reality. An artificial general intelligence will be able to do everything a human can do and way more. Way, way more. It's way smarter than a human being, but it can at least do everything. Like if you took if you took narrow artificial intelligence, it was not going to be able to do everything a human can do. Like can it pass the test? Yes. Is it way smarter on history? Yes. Does it have a photographic eidetic memory? Is it smarter than most humans? Yes, but it doesn't have things like spatial knowledge. It doesn't have anything that it generates. It's based off of your prompts. You prompt it to do things and then it reacts. The self-evolving portion of it is very limiting, based off of however it's programmed. It's programmed to do one thing. Like even right now, where you take Chat GPT, 4.0 or 101 or whatever you take, right? They're very narrow. They do one thing. They are focused on doing one thing and doing that one thing very well. But artificial general intelligence is different. It's a field of theoretical AI research that attempts to create software with human-like intelligence and the ability to be self-taught, like a human. A human can be self-taught. Like right now, you can teach yourself to fly a plane. You could teach yourself to cook a certain meal. You could, all right, a human can do. So an AGI will be able to do all the things a human can do and much more. So it's no joke. So when people talk about, oh, it's going to take our jobs, this right here is what they're talking about. AGI. So let's talk about this. So artificial narrow intelligence is specialized in one area. AGI is machine intelligence, and it refers to computers that is as smart as a human across the board. And what Sam Altman is saying, the CEO of OpenAI, arguably one of the people on the forefront of all this development, he says, for me, AGI is the equivalent of a median human that you could hire as a coworker. This is coming from the CEO of one of the top, well, actually the top AI companies. And what I say is, for me, when I look at this, I can clearly see we really don't know what's going to happen when AGI is released. Like once AGI is out there, once it's in the wild, once real AGI is out there, we really don't know the impact. We know it will have an impact, but we really don't know. None of us know. Kind of like the internet. None of us knew like what would happen with the internet, what would come of it, what things would crop up, what kind of businesses will it topple, which kind of business would grow out of it. We really didn't know. There was a lot of speculation. There was a lot of, if you were around in the 90s, like during the .com bubble, like when it happened, nobody really knew what was going to happen. There was a speculation. And at the time, I remember like when all this, when the browser wars were going out, when the search engine wars, it was at one time, Yahoo was the top search engine. And then nobody knew that it was going to be Google, and nobody knew how powerful Amazon would be. And so it's the same thing right with this. AGI is going to change everything, but we don't know how. We really don't know how. We don't know how many jobs it'll take. We don't know how companies will use it. We don't know how quickly they'll adapt to it to start using it. It's like a box. It's like a Pandora's box. It's a black box. We don't know what's inside of it, but we're about to know. We're about to find out. What they're saying is AGI will be within the next, I think the earliest prediction that I've heard is 2027 when AGI is out there. But we don't know the impact of it. It's, for me, as somebody in this field, is scary. and it's exciting and scary at the same time because we just don't know what's going to happen. I don't think it's going to be all good. I don't think it's going to be all bad. There's a couple other things I want to talk about on our next talk. I want to go deeper into this. There's a lot going on here. There's something called ASI, which people don't normally talk about, except the people who are like really digging into this, and it's artificial superintelligence. And artificial superintelligence it's smarter than all humans combined. I know that's hard to imagine, but that's what it is. It's a super intelligence, and it is something that is so smart that it can create another AI. It can create narrow AIs or AGIs to suit its purpose. It's way beyond human intelligence. And this is another step where we don't have no clue what's going to happen once this happens. Once this happens, we just don't know what will happen with this. But this artificial superintelligence will create, we know, is going to be like an intelligence explosion. It will create the smartest thing that this thing can make is another AGI or something even smarter than itself. What's to stop it from making something even smarter than itself? Now, we already can't comprehend something smarter than all humanity combined. Then this thing creates something smarter by an order of magnitude than itself. Now, there are some implications. Like some of the things that's going to hold all this back a bit is power, because all of this takes a lot of power to do. It's going to take a lot of electricity. Like right now, even artificial narrow intelligence takes a lot of electricity, right? So the infrastructure is not even there yet, right? So the stuff I'm talking about, the infrastructure to do all the stuff I'm talking about is not there yet. Now, by now, people who are really thinking about this and thinking forward are probably thinking, well, we should probably shut this down. Shouldn't we slow this down? What are we doing to slow this down? Like, shouldn't we stop this or something? Well, the problem with that is that countries are already doing this. Like, you might slow this country down. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong, right? But there's other countries already. U.S. is right now in talent and infrastructure, operating in most areas. The U.S. is number one on AI development. We have the most, our models, other countries are copying the U.S. models. Other countries are copying OpenAI's model. They're copying Meta's model. They're copying Google's model. They're copying these models here that are being created in Silicon Valley, and then they're taking it back to China, and then they're creating it in Beijing or Shanghai or in Singapore or UK or wherever, right? And then they're making their own version of it with their own configurations. Number 2 is China. And then number 3 overall, Singapore. Then it goes UK, Canada, South Korea, Israel, Germany, Switzerland. Like, to just give me an idea of how close China is. China, let me see if I can find it. China has something called DeepSeek. This was released like within a couple days ago. DeepSeek R1 is a Chinese model that's rivaling the top ChatGPT model. And they did this within 2 months. Within 2 months, they were able to rival the top ChatGPT model. Yeah. And then Germany, Germany has a real popular one called Flux that a lot of people copy. Flux is like a text to image creator. So then there's many other ones all over the world that are being created. It's right now we're in the middle of an explosion of all this stuff happening. And so for me, after I got through my existential dread of all of this, and after I've been looking at this for a while, for about a year and a half, like very deeply, and I'm going deeper and deeper into it. And rather than wallow in an existential terror, or be afraid of what's going to happen next with humanity or whatever, I just start thinking, like, what can I do? Like, what I start thinking about, like, we've been through this before, right? We live in an era where there's been a half dozen things that have already revolutionized humanity, that have already changed humanity: the PC, the internet, social media, and several other fields that have evolved, that that have changed everything, right? From communications to biology to DNA discoveries, and all kinds of stuff have changed. Space, the James Webber space is, like, there's been several in our lifetime. There's been several things that have happened, and I'm just trying to think, like, how did that go? Like, how can we position ourselves to make the most advantage of this new gigantic innovation? What can we do? And it occurs to me that this is not like those things. Why? Because this is like the equivalent of a nuclear weapon that can create more nuclear weapons. Social media, as destructive and creative as it wasn't as powerful as what we are creating right now, as what human beings are creating right now. This right here is something that literally could directly destroy humanity. I'm not talking about, make memes. I'm talking about, it could make a biological weapon that could wipe out all humans, by itself. This is not like anything that's been done before. It's not like the internet. It's not like social media. It's not like cell phones. It's not like anything we've done before. Probably the closest thing I could think of that's as destructive potentially as this, uh, is biological developments and nuclear weapons. Those are the only things close, and those aren't even close to how potentially creative or destructive this is. And I'm not what we call a doomer, meaning it's going to destroy everything. And I'm not one of these people saying that it's going to completely transform all humanity into this enlightened state of being. I think our if I had to make a prediction, our destiny and our path lies somewhere between those two things. Between Terminator 2 of AI taking over human, destroying all, or the Matrix, where it makes all humans into batteries. you know, because that's what the Matrix is about. Both the Matrix and two of my favorite sci-fi movies, The Matrix. There's three sci-fi movies that are the biggest that talk about the doomsday scenario, which is Terminator. The AI rises up, the machine creates a bunch of factories that creates the machines that destroys all humans, because humans are a plague, or for whatever reason, right? Then there's the Matrix, which is AI turns on and then decides, hey, I want to make all humans into batteries so that I can take over the planet, right? And then use all the people's minds as a neural link and trap people into a fake reality. That's the Matrix. And then there's another one that's a book. I don't know if they've ever made a movie out of it, but it's called I Have No Mouth, But I Must Scream. And it's by Harlan Ellison, and it's about these AIs. Each country, this is crazy. Each country has its own AI, and artificial super intelligence. And first, all the countries are warring with each other with their AI. They're using the AI as a weapon. But all the AIs are way smarter than humans. So what the AIs do is they get together and say, you know what? We're going to combine ourselves and we're going to take over all humanity. And they do. They take over all humanity. And the main portion of the book is that the AI takes the scientists who made it and tortures them. It's It's not the happiest ending. So those are 3 scenarios, doomsday scenarios of AI super intelligence taking over everything, killing every human. There's another side to it, which is transhumanism, where some scientists are saying that we merge with AI and we become this transcended being. Or in the case of Star Trek, where Star Trek, they use AI to help make this better society that doesn't is not scrambling for food, doesn't really rely on money. It's beyond capitalism and communism. It's way beyond any of that stuff because they live in a world of abundance. Like they can just, if they want food, they can just go to a replicator machine and then create the food. If they want to transportation, they can. Computers allow them to do all this stuff. So there's different scenarios where AI is the doom, and then AI is helps humanity go this trend. I think we're somewhere in between. I don't think, and the reason why I say that is the pattern of most things in reality are like that. It's rarely an extreme this direction or that direction. It's usually somewhere in the middle, and so it'll be some of both. It'll be people using AI as a weapon system for sure, with cloud drones and all kinds of crazy shit. And then AI is breaking free and doing God knows what. And then it'll also be us using a artificial super intelligence to be enlightened and to travel to distant worlds. I think it'll be somewhere in between. It'll be very good, very bad, and hopefully we'll live through this. I mean, one of the things that comes to mind is that we just don't have the maturity for what's happening right now, and that's one of the things that I'm sad about, is that humanity doesn't seem like we have the maturity for this, and there's a very likely situation where it makes a gap between haves and have-nots, and the haves are people in the know versus people who are ignorant and in the dark and kept in the dark. Because like I said before, one of the best things that AI is good at is tricking people. It's very, very, very good at tricking the hell out of people. And that's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. It's very good at it, because then you can use it to have people vote in a certain direction. You can have legislators and presidents be a puppet to this thing. And they won't even know they're tricked. That's the thing. You won't even know you're tricked. It can make a religion and then fake, like you'll follow it and won't even know what's happening. It's that much smarter than us. And that's what narrow intelligence is already doing. Just imagine what a super intelligence will be able to do. The fix will be in, and we won't even know there's a fix. And I think that probably what'll happen is there'll be people who are completely in these bubbles where they're tricked. They're completely fooled. They're in a cult. They don't even know they're in a cult. They remain ignorant so that people can control them, or the AI or whatever can control them for whatever reason. And there'll be people who know. I think that's probably what's going to happen. There'll be a haves and have-nots, but it'll be based off of people who know and who are completely in the dark and ignorant, and then people who know and are enlightened and know what's going on, see the light and the darkness for what it is, and then people who are completely in the dark and don't know what's going on and are led down all these paths right off a cliff. I just think that's the direction we're going in, and that I don't think it's necessarily all good or all bad, but it does give me some pause about what's coming. And the question is, what can we do now? What can we do now? We can't control that humanity has created a super intelligence that's going to create another super intelligence. We can't control it. But what we can do is What can we do? So that's really the question. What can we do? I don't know the answer to humanity's problems, right? But I do know right now what we can do is learn as much as possible. What can we learn? Cloud computing, AI, machine learning, Python, and use it as much as possible to learn as much as possible. And then go deeper and deeper into this and learn as much as we can so we can benefit off of the good things that are going to come from it. That's something that we can do going forward that will help us to stay ahead of this thing as much as possible, or at least be involved enough to where we can be on top. We can ride the wave of the innovations that are happening. That's something we can control. All right, I'm gonna take a couple questions. I'm not gonna be on it too long. I got a really hard stop at 10:30. And Larry, how you doing, man? Larry says, let me see if I can put your message on screen here. Larry says, from a practitioner standpoint, what's the best approach to learning securing AI's best practices? So this is where I'm at right now, Larry. I'm learning right now how to do this, and there's not that much resources for us right now. It's just so new. It's an emerging technology such that we're right now, just us talking about it, just us thinking about it is way ahead of what most people know about or have an interest in or anything. And right now there's a couple of places that I've been learning from. Number one is to learn cloud as much as possible. That's why I've been so interested in it, because AI is not possible at the scale that's about to happen without cloud. And so cloud, whether it's Azure or AWS or Google or whatever, cloud is a very fundamental part of the scaling of AI. So to have all the the scaling of compute and memory and storage that it needs, and energy and everything, cloud makes it possible to do all these things, like having self-driving cars and having swarms of of drones for putting out fires or for war or whatever. It's important that we learn cloud as much as possible. AI, the fundamentals of AI, just like I always tell people, learn the fundamentals of IT. Learn, if you want to get into cybersecurity, learn the fundamentals of AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. And one of the main languages that keeps coming up and keeps coming up and keeps coming up is Python. So for me, my track is that. But there's another thing I want you to check out. So there's also, from a documentation standpoint and having regulations, there's NIST released something called NIST RMF AI. I started writing about this, but I just realized I just don't know enough, right? I just don't, like with all the other books I wrote, it's stuff I do like on a regular basis. So in those books, I'm telling people what I do. Like I'm giving people examples of what I've done in practice, but this is not an area that I know that. So I wrote the book, and then it occurs to me, like, I can't go deep enough on this. So what I did was I rewrote this right here, but I didn't have anything significant to add. Not yet. I'm building up my knowledge base to learn more. But anyway, this is NIST AI RMF, and it tells you how to secure an artificial intelligence. And I really cannot speak on this yet. I'm still learning it myself, but it has some of the core things is that there's a govern function, there's a mapping function, there's a measurement function, there's a measure and manage. So it kind of tells you, let me see if I can find a diagram that explains it better. Some of the tenets of it is to limit the harm to an organization, limit the harm to the community, limit the harm to society. Kind of obvious things, but question is, how do you do that? And it kind of gets into some of that, limiting the risk. So that's one of the places that you can look at. But for the most part, Larry, like what I'm doing is learning the fundamentals of AI before I can get deeper into this stuff, like I feel like I really got to understand the fundamentals. I got to understand, and already I'm starting to learn so much, and it's starting to open my eyes about how this all can work and how to protect it by learning more about cloud, and then getting deeper into the AI. Like, how do you build an AI? Like, what's the machine learning? Like, how does it work? Those are the things that I'm focused on right now. I'm using resources. I'm using, it's a lot of YouTube, right? I'm on the YouTube phase. I'm using Udemy courses. For AI, I mean, for the cloud portion, I'm about to take the certification. So I've got books. Like, one of the books is here. I'm gonna start off with AWS. Here it is right here. Every day, I'm trying to, get as much as possible. Basic stuff. Like, if you're a cloud person, this is pretty basic, right? It's basically telling me how it's going into like some of the services of AWS right now, and that's what I'm focused on right now. Let me see other questions. In my opinion, Larry says, in my opinion, will AI surpass, in your opinion, sorry, I can't read. In your opinion, will AI surpass cloud technology as far as what will be the next big thing to get involved in to stay relevant and employed? I would say that the two are married. So AI for scalability cannot function without cloud. You can put cloud directly. I mean, you can put AI directly on your computer. There's an AI that allows you to download it from the internet, an open source one. I think it's Llama is one of them. You can download it from the internet, put it on your computer, and then work with it and do all kinds of stuff with it. Change the weights of it, change the code, like feed it information and have it be an expert on cooking or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you can do whatever you want with it. But for scalability, which is what companies will need, they're going to have either some kind of on-prem server technology or in the cloud technology for scalability. And so from my perspective, those AI is married to cloud technologies. And so for the next big thing, I would say you're going to have to know some bit of cloud in order to go deeper into AI. I think, from what I know so far, that I'm still learning. Um, AI will eventually surpass cloud, I think, by itself. By itself, it will be something that is, cloud will be ubiquitous. People only, just like networking, people don't talk about networking. Like, when we're talking about cybersecurity, I might mention it sometimes, but it's just known that it's part of what we're talking about. It's just no, and cloud is becoming like that. So right now it's still cloud. Right now in the market is still hungry for cloud. It's still hot. Eventually, I would say probably within the next 3 years, probably in the next 2 years, AI will be on fire. So that's why I'm saying it's absolutely imperative that we learn as much as we can about AI. All right, next question or comment. Larry says it's literally Skynet from the Terminator movies. So Bruce is either Neo or John Connor. Both. I love those two movies, by the way. Okay, I'm gonna answer a few TikTok questions. Get these guys in on the conversation. Like I said, I got a hard stop at 10:30. Got some business to attend to. So, and I'm gonna do like a part two. I got more stuff I wanted to say. I just didn't even scratch the surface of all the stuff that's going on with AI that I feel like is really, really important. Let me see. Somebody commented on the shirt. Oh, you like the shirt? We accept EBT. Let's see. I'm about to, okay. Dominica. Sorry. Donica Burns says, I'm about to graduate with an AAS in cyber. Thoughts on going into an engineer degree next? It depends on what you want to do, Donica. It really depends on what you want to do. I could tell you right now in the market. Now, just to give you perspective of where I'm at, I'm actually working I work for the Department of Homeland Security. I'm I'm an information system security officer. Which means I do policies, documentation. I do network and analysis, cybersecurity and analysis. I'll take logs and have to look through, figure out what vulnerabilities we have and what's prioritized. Those things. I get paid pretty good. I work from home. Right now in the market, what's hot? Cybersecurity. You can't go wrong if you have cybersecurity background. It's hot, right? Another one's cloud. They're very hungry for people who know cloud, how to use it, how to implement it. Hands-on is really what they're looking for. Those are like the main things. AI is emerging. Like it's becoming more and more. Organizations are starting to use it. We're in the baby steps of organizations and companies and governments starting to use it, but it's gonna develop super fast. Law of accelerating returns. By an order of magnitude, every year is being used more and more and more. It's crazy. So engineering degree, I think that's fine. Like when you get into this field, what they're really looking for in IT is hands-on experience. So as much as you can while in school, get as much hands-on experience as you can. So you can get whatever engineering, computer science, whatever degree you want. I would say keep it within the sciences and in engineering and in computers as much as possible, I would say, because those are going to help you. STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, keep it in one of those if that's what you want to stay in. Computers, I would say, would be your best bet. But when you get in the field, they're really looking for experience, not so much what degree you have. So focus on experience right now. Don't wait until you get your degree. Don't wait till you get that piece of paper. How do you do it? That's a good question. What you want to do is apply for a student work program, apply for apprenticeships, apply for internships while you're in school. Ask around, ask other teachers, ask other students, ask your peers. Try to work as much as possible. Right now, it's not really about money. It's about experience. Experience is going to be the stepping stone for you to get to that next level to make the money. Experience is as good or better than money right now in your life. So if you can't do internships, you can't be a working student, you can't be an apprentice, but you're still in school or you're not, whatever, do projects to get hands-on as much as possible in information technology, whether it's doing help desk, fixing computers, taking calls, fixing people's computers over the phone, connecting up networks, even being a cable guy. Any kind of hands-on experience you can get, use it. Learning tools like scanners, tools like network scanners, pen test tools, anything you can do to get your hands dirty to where you could put that on a resume to say, I built this, I fixed 5 computers, I fixed 15 computers, I worked at this place at the university of wherever for 3 years fixing people's laptops. You want to get experience as much as possible right now. Do not wait. All right, hope that answered your question. Okay, let me see if I got any more. Tariq, I see you, man. What's up? How you doing? I'm gonna end this real soon. I'm not gonna be on here too much longer. I got a hard stop at 10:30. Let me see. Donica says, that's my issue. That's my issue. I work full time, 250 hours a month, easily, and school full time. Man, I feel your pain, Donica. I did the same thing. I was in the military at the same time. I just had a baby, keeping me up all night. I wasn't going to sleep. I was going to school at the same time. I remember my school was like maybe 10 miles away from the base, and I can remember I had a night school, and I'd be driving home just nodding off. Like I was so tired. So you can do it. I'm just saying, like, it'll be worth it, and you can do it if you're getting the work. If you're doing work, and if it's not in IT, so that might be an issue. But what you could do is see if you can, if there's an IT position at your job. Like, see if there's any kind of technical position at your job, whether it's wherever you happen to work. You know, if you're a real estate agent, what if you're working back office, or you're doing stocking, whatever. See if there's something you can do to get your hands on their IT to where you can put that on your resume. Even if it's just something simple, like you're working on a point of sale device and you have to fix it from time to time. Look, whatever you can do to get your hands on IT. And guys, I think I'm out of here. I have a hard stop at in 10:30, so I'm out. Tariq, congratulations. He just passed his SYSA plus a couple days ago. So that's going to help him out with cybersecurity analyst work or SOC analyst work. So congrats on that, man. That's a big win. Keep it going. And all you other guys, thank you guys for following me. I really appreciate it. I will be back here next week. We're going to do part 2 of AI stuff, talk more about it, because this is really important. If you have not heard a damn thing I've said, just for 1 minute of your day, take a look at it. Go and Google it. Go to ChatGPT and look up what's coming with AI. It's going really fast. It's accelerating by an order of magnitude almost every month now. I've never seen anything like this. And I saw the internet be born. I was here during the .com bubble. I witnessed all the stuff with the apps. I don't know if you guys remember that. Mobile apps. Yo, that was fire. Social media. What's happening right now beats all that stuff by a lot. There's nothing like this. It's absolutely terrifying and exciting at the same time. And you got to get in as soon as possible by using the technology. And don't be scared of it. Just dive in, right? Fear is irrelevant. Just dive in and start learning it, start using it as much as possible, because it is the future, period, point blank. All right, guys.